What's good, y'all? I got some much needed buffs for my boy Seaking, a super forgettable Pokemon. They actually are one of the very few Pokemon in this hack that didn't have its abilities changed. Both of its abilities stayed. I think it technically had a third one, but like, you know what I mean? One of its three abilities actually stayed. Both of the ability slots are unchanged, and that's really cool because they're both actually just really solid abilities for Seaking. The main buffs here come in the form of a lot of nuances with the move buffs and changes in this hack. If you go to the Google Sheet down below in the description and you look at all of the moves, you can see the massive array of moves. I've reworked literally every single move in the game for the most part. So as you can see on screen, it's a whole little Google Sheet. It's linked right below in the description. And you go to this little tab and you can check out all of these moves. If you click these categories, you can check by type, by effect, by whatever you want to do, or you can just scroll and read it. That's a totally a reasonable thing to do. So yeah, let me hopefully you go ahead and do that. I'm stuttering on my words a bit. I'm trying to bulk record these and get them out of the way. But yeah, if you're a returning viewer, by the way, I do appreciate you coming back and listening to these. And if you're new, stick around. Bookmark the Google Sheet if this type of thing interests you and check it out. With that being said, though, Seeking has some, also much needed stat boosts. I don't know why I brushed over those. It's just a lot bulkier. Initially, on the first rendition of the Seeking buffs, I had him as a mixed attacker with less HP because I was a lot more pedantic about the HP equals size, quote unquote rule back then. It's not that deep anymore. Like if it already had base 80 HP and it's like a decently sized Pokemon, I'll just keep it. In a Seeking's case and also like Golduck's case and stuff, I kept it. Speaking of Golduck, it actually is pretty similar with the Swift Swim. But yeah, Seeking, pure water type, very good typing. No dual typing makes any sense for Seeking, obviously. Something people might have been eyeing and are thinking, why the fuck did you give it that? Dragon Dance. I want to just get that out of the way because I know people are going to be eyeballing that. First of all, Dragon Dance is like the last TM in the game you get. It's not a big deal. It's not like something I would consider for the majority of the game. Seeking is great for the whole game, of course, from when you can catch it until literally the end of the game. But Dragon Dance specifically is something that I wouldn't even worry about too much in terms of just using it because you won't be able to use it for that long. It's a good option though for the league and Mina's trial and whatnot. But Dragon Dance, logically, it is a weird choice. I'm recognizing that, but you have to consider Pokemon like Whiscash and Crawdaunt get Dragon Dance. Crawdaunt, I have no clue. I don't know the lore behind Crawdaunt, but I do know Whiscash. I think it has something to do with this mystical aspect of catfish and Japan, I think, something like that, with them predicting earthquakes. I don't know, it's weird, but I think Seaking fits more on Dragon Dance than both Whiscash and Crawdaunt combined. So that's the first reason. That's the first justification, I guess, is that if you think it's weird, who cares? There's fucking weirder water types that get it. And I also think it actually genuinely does fit Seeking because of the fact that it's this mystic koi goldfish type Pokemon. And I believe there's this legend or myth in Japanese mythology where if the koi, isn't it what Magikarp is based on or something? Or that's a carp maybe. Maybe it's just any fish. I don't know. Something to do with them turning into dragons, something like that. I'm not well versed in Japanese mythology at all, but I do know there's some type of cultural tie to koi fish and mystic, magic, mystical, stuff. And Dragon Dance is literally referred to in game as a mystic dance, I believe. And the Japanese name might also imply something with mystic dance or something. So I think it fits Seeking fine as this koi fish, aquatic, Pokemon. I think it fits also that is graceful Pokemon that can dance and whatever. So yeah, that's my logic. And also it's just a good move for them to have. Obviously, that's the main reason I gave it. If it wasn't, I wouldn't give it to fucking, another fish Pokemon that makes no sense, unless it needed it, or just, not that it needs it, it's great for without it. But look, I'm getting sidetracked. That's the logic of Dragon Dance. Otherwise, though, it has tons of great new coverage moves, powerful stab moves. It's much bulkier, and a really good thing about having Swift Swim in this hack is you have access to infinite usability capsules, buffed Damp Rock, which extends by 6 turns as opposed to 3 turns, and you have access to infinite EV training items and instant EV training items. So what that means is for, if you're running a lightning rod set, you can run a max speed lightning rod set, switch in on electric type move, or, bait an electric type move on the AI, get a +1 special attack boost, which is relatively useless, and then, just be immune to electric and pivot in on those types of moves. And that's useful, as a pure water type that's immune to electric. Obviously, water ground is also immune to electric, but they also have that 4 times grass weakness, which isn't terrible or anything. It's just kind of unique, and that Seeking is even better typing wise with lightning rod than the water grounds are, although 3 out of the 5 of them have a water immunity ability, which is also useful. But like my point is that's pretty cool in Seaking, and it's a pretty fitting ability. Well, it's actually not fitting, but like they gave it to him because of the horn, so like why not just keep it? And it's a nice alternative over Lightning Rod. However, if you want to use him offensively, you don't need to use Swift Swim. He's plenty strong and fast enough to just kill things on his own in game, you know, versus certain boss fights with the Choice Scarf or whatever. But if you really want that extra speed and power, you can set up that Rain Dance with your ally, which is the reason why I buffed the Damp Rock, because of course there are about a dozen or so Pokemon that have each weather ability in this game. I do want self-setting Rain Dance type stuff to be a lot more viable, so you can use Rain Dance on your ally, Parting Shot or Volts, which you turn into your Seaking or even Goldeen at that point, and you know, go to town in the rain. It's super viable and fun. Even for like Hala, you could use like Goldeen because it will be one of the few fishing encounters in Kala'i Bay, which will be a purchasable like item that you can get earlier now, just literally only for 2 fishing spots. It's literally only for Paniolo Ranch and Paniolo Town and Kala'i Bay, but I don't know why I want to have fish Pokemon early, so yeah. But yeah, point is, Goldeen, Seaking, both really damn strong in the rain with that extended Damp Rock. You've got Swords Dance in the rain if you want to get a setup going, sweep going. You are still susceptible to strong priority attacks, which are very common in this hack. However, what I was alluding to earlier with those infinite EV trading items is that you can run max HP and max attack in the rain, and you have that very naturally good bulk as a pure water type with max HP. 80, 95 is solid, especially with that HP investment. You can easily tank a first impression and, you know, continue your sweep if you want to, you know, go about it that way. You also have Rehydrate, which functions like water type recover, so that's also great for a bulkier Swift Swim set, you know, bulky Swift Swim, Rehydrate, and then you can just go to town with coverage moves and Liquidation and Aqua Tail, whatever you want to do, whatever physical water step you want to use. Of course, there's tons of options. You know, you still get Aqua Jet and all that fun stuff. You have other great utility moves like Soak for totems, Haze for totems specifically, but also good for other stuff. Water Sport is a priority move that's right in time for Totem Marowak. Mud Sport is a priority move that's just in time for an electric type boss trainer. Yeah, even like Skull Bash is pretty cool with Swift Swim. That gives you +1 attack, defense, and accuracy. Finishing Blow is great under the rain. That will give you +3 attack if you knock the opponent out with it, and that's much earlier than the Swords Dance CM. So if you're smart about it, even versus Olivia, you can actually get a crazy Olivia sweep going if you are smart about, you know, when you send it in and, you know, whatever, because she will actually have first impression users, because she'll be actually the first boss trainer to use first impression against you probably, which is cool. Maybe Plumeria will have one too, but at that point in the game, you're close to getting the first impression PM. Yeah, Z Camouflage, that gives you +1 to all your stats, which also is pretty cool because it will change your type to match the terrain. So you could theoretically use like Psychic Terrain, Zen Headbutt. Now you're immune to first impression and other priority moves, and you're at +1 all your stats. And you can do that in the rain, or you can just, you know, do it with Lightning Rod and, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Your ability doesn't have to trigger for, you know, the Pokemon to be good, of course. Abilities are, you know, you still have your stats and all that. So yeah, Z Camouflage, Psychic Terrains, and Headbutt could be a pretty cool strategy if you do happen to have a Psychic Surge Pokemon on your team, which of course there are about a dozen or so of now. Head Smash, great coverage, Stone Edge, you know, Rock Slide. I did give them rock moves, which might seem weird, but there is stuff in the Pokemon. Well, first of all, Seaking needs the fucking coverage, let's be real. Second of all, I believe there's deck entries to talk about them like smashing out. Yeah, like it makes an S by carving out boulders in the stream using the horn on his head. Speaking of the horn, Mega Horn, that's bug type close combat, so that's a great coverage move. You've got Takedown, which is a fighting type recoil move. That's pretty great. You've got Gunk Shot, which is awesome. You know, all types of really nice coverage, you know, drill runs and headbutt, all types of fun stuff that you can experiment with and use via TM and tutor. Even stuff like Parting Shot for like bulk gear sets, whatever you want to do. That's really about it though. I will leave the video off there. Thank you so much for listening. Last thing I'll say is just like simple, you know, Wave Crash, Surging Strikes are 2 very strong style options for. Oh, another thing, I gave Seaking a lot of great moves early on. That's not obvious to you. Like normally Pokemon learn Surging and Wave Crash like much later, and like at least the mid 50s. It depends on the Pokemon, of course, but I just felt like making Seaking the GOAT, so I gave him Wave Crash and Surging Strikes really early on. So you'll have those for Aether Foundation, so that's really damn strong. Horn Drill, you know, single use, 100% accurate, just good for totems mostly. It's pretty much useless otherwise. Maybe for like the Rainbow Rocket post game, it's good actually because the box art legendaries. But as a whole, Seaking's just a very solid, strong, bulky, fast, pure water type with 2 great abilities and a great move pool. It's really about it. It's kind of boring. You know, I understand if you don't like Seaking still. It is a boring Pokemon overall, but I think it's cool. I would not mind using one at all, especially with these really nice buffs and changes. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back for more coming up. Peace.